Now, it should make sense that Angular doesn't know the app tasks component as well as some other components anymore, now that we're trying to start the Angular application with this module. Because we faced a similar error way earlier in this course when we got started with components. I mentioned earlier in the course that Angular would not go ahead and scan your entire project and register everything that looks like a component as a component. Instead, you explicitly need to tell Angular which components make up your application and how they should be aware of each other. And with standalone components, we of course do that with help of this imports array. But we no longer have that on module-based components. Instead, it's in that module where we have to declare all the components that should know about each other. And therefore here in our application, we should not just add the app component to our app module, but also all the components that are being used by that component. Which means we, for example, also should add the header component here, because the app component in its template uses this header. But we should also add the user and tasks components. So therefore, back in the app module, we should also add this user component and the tasks component. Now, of course, I'm getting a bunch of errors here now, though, because these are all standalone components, and I mentioned that you can't add those to declarations. Now, what you can do, if you want to keep those components as standalone components, because you're, for example, slowly but steadily migrating your project over, what you can do in such a scenario is you can add an imports array to your module, just as we had those imports arrays on our standalone components, and add any standalone components you want to register for your application to that imports array instead of the declarations array. So the declarations array is for non-standalone components. The imports array can be used for standalone components. And with that, we got no errors here anymore. However, you will see that as you try to view your application, you won't see anything on the screen. And if you open the browser developer tools, you'll see an error here, that a required injectable was not found in the dependency injection tree. And we actually get an additional hint, actually a solution for the problem, that if we are bootstrapping an ng module, which we're trying to bootstrap the application with the app module, we should make sure that the browser module is imported. Because modules can actually also import other modules, and we'll build another custom other module later. But one module that has been built for us by the Angular team, which we should import here, is the browser module, which is imported from @Angular platform browser. This is a module provided by the Angular team that in the end provides a collection of things that are needed by every Angular app in order to run correctly. This includes some generally helpful directives that might be used in your application, but also some other crucial features every application needs access to. That's why you must import this here and then also add it to the imports array of your root module, so of your app module typically. Every Angular application, when using Angular modules, needs that browser module. Well, and with that, if you saved it and you reload, you see we got no more errors here, and the application indeed again works as before. And that's therefore also an example that shows us how we can combine standalone and module-based components by adding any standalone components to imports and any non-standalone components to declarations. But we're of course still not done with this application here.